Hello guys, Nigel here with you again, Nigel's Modelling Bench, and yes, we've got the martini hat on again. Hopefully by now you've seen the Porsche 935 videos from Tamiya, and you'll see that I've actually got two of them. I've had one for many years and I've just recently bought one last week, and you may be wondering, why on earth have you done that? Well, if you remember, I told you in that video I was looking around for decals, and when I looked at the price of decals and bits and pieces that I wanted to get, I thought I may as well just get another kit, because another kit's £150, you know, may as well just do that. And I found something else, something I wanted for a very long time, something I wanted when it first came out, but there was no way I could justify spending the money or afford it. Then it came up on eBay, and I thought, really? And I contacted the seller. I said, is it complete? Is it brand new? Yep. Absolutely lovely guy, Keith, really nice bloke. And unfortunately, I missed out on a couple of kits he had that I'm absolutely gutted about, but never mind. This is what I got. And this is the Scale Motorsport. You see up there, Scale Motorsport. It's the Mega Set Super Detail Kit for the Porsche 935, and this is the 2021 edition. They did a version many years ago, and then he did a release and he did 525, and this one is 259 of 525. It is a proper limited edition, and as you can see, it's a proper really well presented set. Really nice. You can see on there Scale Motorsport, and I'm not even sure if it's still available, but it contains turned aluminium components, brass and nickel silver photo etch, braided hoses and plumbing, assembly and plumbing manuals, the 935 close-up and mechanical photo library. It's a limited production run, and you can go and have a look at it on scalemotorsport.com. Now, there's not a lot about this set on the internet that I could find. You can see on the back here there's some lovely images, but I think it's probably best we get out to the bench and have a look at it. But I've looked around online, and there's not a hell of a lot about this, probably because it's so limited edition, and you'll probably find that more than 50% of the sets that were sold are probably still sat in people's stashes. So there we go. Anyway, without further ado, let's go and have a look what's in there and have a look at all the bits and pieces. We're obviously not going to look at every part, because there's hundreds of them, maybe even 1,000 parts, I don't know. I did see something on the internet, and a guy was saying that the Tamiya kit is the update set for this. So yeah, that's how good he thinks it is. Anyway, let's get to the bench and have a look. All right, so here we are at the bench now, and as you can see, I've got the set here, and here are the instructions for the Tamiya kit. I've got these for a couple of reasons. One is I just want to go over something I also covered when I reviewed these two kits. I'd also say any noise in the background, it's Dottie. I've got a 5-month-old wire-haired fox terrier. She's up here now, and she's starting to get her head, shall we say, and starting to make noise with toys and stuff. So I could sit here all day and wait for her to stop or shut her out of the room, whatever, but I'm sure you don't mind a little bit of squeaking in the background. Anyway, so yeah, the kits, I just wanted to basically say, like I said in my review, big scale 21, this one is big scale 57. As you can see here, the kit number is 12023, and this one is 12057. Other than some packaging changes and a lack of sponsors decals on this one, as you can see, we've got Dunlop shell here, Bosch. We've got the Bosch, but we have no Dunlop or shell. And then back here we've got Bilstein. I think that's missing on that one. We've also got Dunlop here. In fact, I don't think they had Bilstein on the back. They just had Dunlop on the back there. So yeah, so Tamiya have moved away from paying a fortune for all these licenses to have these names on their cars. Probably, I was discussing this last night on Moss's channel on Airfix and Chill. You know, it seems that Tamiya just don't seem to release any kits lately. It's very strange, and they used to bang these out like mad. But anyway, I'm waffling. So yeah, if you are looking at these old kits and you like them, always get the highest number you can, because things like decals go off, tyres go off. The tyres can get a bit crumbly. I've also noticed on here you've got Dunlop on the tyres, and on here you don't. I didn't look actually. I must have a look to see if the early kit's got it moulded on and the later kit doesn't. Be interesting to see if they're not allowed, because if they've got it moulded on, the Dunlop for you to paint in, obviously without a license they won't be able to put it on. So the older tyres in that respect will be better, but you can get decals for the tyres anyway. You can get the decals for this, but I've already got them in the old kit, so whatever. But yeah, always remember, get the newest one if you can, because as I say, particularly Formula 1 cars, the tyres do deteriorate. So here we can see another reason I've got these is because the instructions in this set link to these instructions, and I'll cover that when we get there. So basically here we have a lovely glossy box. Sorry for any reflections. Really, really nice packaging, beautifully done, and beautiful image. This is the newer image. The older kit has sort of this way up, and it just has the car there, sort of top down, with a blue background. Looking on the back of the box here, you can see we have some of the photographic details. Okay, these are what you get when you get the set. You get a code to log in and look at. They used to give you a CD, but now it's a code, so you can log in online. There aren't that many pictures, but they are very, very handy. And they're pictures like you can see here. The I think that's the boost pressure gauge. So it's good to see, you know, or it might be a normal pressure gauge. I can't read it. I need the magnifier, but it's a gauge. It's attached to the dash, and it's got a pipe going to the bottom of it, and you actually get that in this set with everything on it. So yeah, and you've got the bracketry for the front cross brace under the bonnet. So lots and lots of lovely, lovely stuff here. Right, so on opening the box, beautiful front opening box, really beautifully presented, very high quality. And you can see down in here, no you can't because that just slid and covered it up. You can see down in here we have in the bottom of the box 259 out of 525 K Bullen. So this was that was Keith. So you get a note in here. Thanks Keith, enjoy your SMS 935 build, Matthew Wells. All right, now Matthew Wells is the owner of Scale Motorsport over in the USA, and there's a lovely little sticker on there, a card or whatever. And then in here we have an authenticity, a certificate of authenticity. So let it be known, Keith Bullen is the registered owner of kit 259525, purchased from Scale Motorsport, a Scale Motorsport original. Well, let it be known that he's not. I am. Build something. Okay, so there we go. So we'll put that away for safekeeping. But it's very nice that Matthew does all this. I have actually emailed Matthew twice now on a couple of subjects, and he's just completely ignored my emails. So thank you for that, Matthew. Very nice of you. It could be this on holiday or something, of course. So in here, this is wonderful. I've never seen this, and maybe some other manufacturers could take this on. This is actually a systems manual. So rather than just having instructions on, you know, part 1A goes on to part 27 or whatever, we have this systems manual. And you can see in here, it's absolutely stunning. We have all of the components of the engine identified, so you can tell what they all are. So if you're not a petrol head like me, you may not know what they are. Then it's great. Like C is going to be the alternator. Okay. So absolutely awesome. Something I didn't know was this unit here, B, which is the intercooler water pump. I don't think that appears in the kit, but I have seen it on here. So but you don't get the parts for it in here. So I don't know. Maybe you do get the parts for it. They're not in the instructions. There are some parts that aren't in the instructions. I'll cover that later. But we can see here we've got the this is the gearbox lubrication and linkages. So we've got the oil cooler there for the gearbox. We've got the oil pump. So that's just basically pumping oil out of the bottom of the gearbox through the cooler and back in the top. Real old school, real simple stuff. You get the braided hose. You've got the oil pump in the kit. You've got this bracket that you need to make. The oil pump's there, but it should be mounted on a bracket, but it's not. It's just mounted straight on the screen on the back of the engine. And then here you've got the shift linkage. It's showing you how the shift linkage goes, and you've got a pipe there going to the clutch pedal. Here we've got the throttle linkage, that's all explained. Again, you get parts for the throttle linkage in the kit, but you don't actually get anything in the instructions, so you've got to work it all out yourself. Here we've got engine management and Bosch mechanical injection. So you can see here all the plumbing, all shown where everything goes. You know, you've got the battery, you've got the kill switches, internal and external, and then you go into ignition switch. And yes, you do get a key in here. You get a photo-etched key to go in the dash, and then you go in here. You're feeding the starter motor. You've got the starter switch there, and then here you're feeding your coils, your ignition boxes there, and then here you've got fuel pump relay, and then you've got all different bits. You've got the fuel tank there. There's lots and lots of stuff, and you can see all the plumbing for the top of the engine, and this is where all your distributor wires go. So that's your ignition system there. 12 spark plugs, and then we've got all the belts, pulleys here. We've got little bits and pieces here. So you've got number 12 is the oil pressure sensor, that one there, and number 13 is the oil temperature sensor. So you've got those to wire in as well. So I think you have to add your own wire. I don't think it gives you wire in here, but there's lots of pictures of the engine online that you can research. Here we've got the intake manifold cooling system. So this is basically the water cooler. It's water cooled intercooler is the word I was looking for. Intercooler. So it's an air to water intercooler system. So unlike modern cars now, where the turbo plumbing goes from the turbo through an intercooler and then back into the engine, this is actually going directly into the engine. You can see there it's going directly from the turbo, but the intercoolers are there, very much like on a supercharger, and you've got water running through here. You've got this pump here which is missing in the kit. So you can see there it has the what are we looking at? Water pump C36, C47, and C38, C46, and C47. Very interesting, guys. I've just learned something I never knew about this kit. You have this water pump, okay? This water pump for the charge coolers, and it's saying in the instructions here C38, C46, C47. You can clearly see the parts here, and you've also got the belt C42. Okay, so you've got 46, 47 over here. You've got C38 there, and then you've got the belt with the pulleys there. And when you look up here, it says you can see there in a darker blue colour. It says unnecessary 38, 46, 47. And 42. So very interesting. And then when you look at the newer kit, you'd have thought they'd have realised with the newer kit, but here we go, C, and they've got those parts. You've got up here, you've got a grey box not used, and they got 46, 47, 42 and 38. So there we are. So do your research, guys, and you can add some piping and make your engine look a bit more sexy. So I've learned something while I'm doing this review. I didn't think we had those parts in the kit. So anyway, be interested to look through the other parts that aren't included or aren't required according to the instructions. So here we've got the turbocharger. So we've got the, there's our boost control knob. We're going to see that in a minute. And then you've got the accumulator here. So there we go. You can see your pressure pipes there. And you've got your exhaust wastegate there. Remember, this is a very, very basic system. It's nothing like you've got today. And basically what you did was change the point at which the valve would open by reducing or increasing the pressure. There's a diaphragm in there which basically pushes down on a piston. The exhaust gases push against that piston, and when the exhaust gases reach a certain pressure, when that pressure overcomes the pressure set in there with that diaphragm and spring, it pops open. Okay, which is why when you hear these cars go, it's that lovely exhaust wastegate sound. And also sometimes you'll hear when they're on a trailing throttle, that really loud, because the exhaust is open. And then here you've got the ignition system. So you've got your spark plug leads, and it's giving you all your firing order, everything there. And then we've got the lubrication system here. So we've got oil system here for the turbo. So that is basically oil feeding the turbo and then back to the block again. It's got a scavenge on it. And then here we've got the lubrication system part B. So this is all coming from your oil tank underneath the bonnet, and then these pipes are all going to run through the car, and you've got your oil cooler up front, you've got your oil train back tubes there, and all these fittings on here. You can see you've got all these Goodrich fittings and everything. They're all in the set. So, well, at least I think they're all in the set. So there we go. That, I think, is worth its weight in gold. It's absolutely awesome. So thank you for that, Matthew. Absolutely gorgeous. Here we have the instruction manual. We'll have a look at this in a minute, but I do just want to point one thing out to you guys. So before we start going through the instructions, what they've done here, I don't know where that's coming from. What they've done here is, with the instructions, you can see you've got step 2 here, you've got step 3 here, and what it does, it links to the instructions. So in this Tamiya instruction sheet here, you've got step 2, you're doing the pedals, yet they do the pedals somewhere else, but you can see here you've got all this stuff for the center console, and you can see I've gone in and crossed out the bits you don't need. So you can see on here, Tamiya parts not used in step 2, H3, H4, H15, H35, L6 and L15. I think they actually mean L16 there. But you can see hardly any of this is, well, none of it is used. You're not using the pedals in here, but you don't actually get to the pedals until later in the manual. But so they're telling you what to use here, and then you've got all this simple plastic and missing parts. The boost accumulator and the boost control knob are not included at all. That's called the fun lever or something. But you can see all your boost mechanism there. But I've gone off track. This actually relates to the instructions. So you've got step 2 is the propeller shaft and tunnel. Step 3 is the driver's seat. And then we go to the front dampers. Let's get this. We go to the front dampers, which is step 6. Okay, so you've got the front shock absorbers there, which you use none of that other than the screw. You're completely replacing all that. And it's all aluminium parts you're using in there. But what I wanted to say was, if you've got the newer kit, you will see in here we have step 2, okay, which is the center console, and then step 3, seat belts. Step 4 is the seat. So as you can see here, these numbers don't tally up. When you get to step 6 is now the steering column. Step 7 is the front damper. So basically, if you've got one of these and you want to have it tallying up, you can either change the markings on here, or if you go to ScaleMates, you can actually download this instruction and this instruction. They've got both of them on there. So go to the old 1977 release, download that, and you'll have it in front of you. Okay, so there's our lovely instruction sheet, which is very, very nicely done. On the back, you've got to build something, and you've got beautiful going through there. There are a couple of little corrections to make in the instructions, which I will show you in a minute. So in the set, in fact, what we'll do, we'll go through the instructions first, and then we'll come back and have a look at the set. So if you don't want to see the instructions, fast forward, just keep pressing that forward arrow until you see me bring this box back. Okay, right, see you in a sec. All right, so here we have the beautifully printed manual. I've printed this out off of ScaleMates. So if you want to go and look on ScaleMates, you can find this set and you can print out the manual and have a look yourself. It all prints in black and white, so it's not too bad on your ink. You may decide not to print this front cover because that obviously uses a lot of blank ink. So going in here, we've got some notes all about the sets. The number of parts and length of the instruction manual make this kit appear to be complicated when in fact it's rather simple. However, the number of parts do make the kit complex. We recommend studying each step prior to starting your build. That's for sure. As I said, it was commented somewhere else online that the Tamiya kit is actually the update set for this. So the numbered steps in the SMS manual coincide with the step numbers in Tamiya's instruction manual. Occasionally some step numbers appear to be missing from the Scale Motorsport instruction manual. This is because there is no additional work required to the corresponding Tamiya step number. Start each step by reading through the Tamiya instruction manual first, then study the corresponding Scale Motor step number to see where and how the SMS details complement the Tamiya parts. And obviously, like I say, that you've got that manual for your plumbing, You need that with you all the time to work alongside. To get tips and techniques from other 935 SDK builders, check out the Motorsport 935 Facebook build site or email us at customerservice@scalemotorsport.com. So I may actually try that actually. I'd love to find out some more information and see some other people's work. I'd love to. Right, so here we've got Be a Builder. So here we've got these are all the turned aluminium, or most of the turned aluminium parts, and a lot of these are absolutely tiny. And you can see they're all listed down here as M numbers, and they all give you a location where they are in the box. Okay, so I'll show you that in a minute. You can see we've got bits like here is, it's not to scale. This is like your front suspension spring, which is going to be like that long. And these are unions for your hoses, which are going to be about that long. So you can see it's not to scale, but we've got lots and lots of turned aluminium machine parts. Absolutely beautiful. So this is the layout, like it says here. You've got part M1, which is a banjo fitting, and that is in location A1. A1 is there. We've got here, gear lever is in B5. B5, so it's going to be in there. And this plastic tray that's all split up into those units. These here are our wheels. We've got turned aluminium wheels. And then this is a list of all the parts that are also listed there. So you've got that there, and you've got that over there as well. Going over the page, we've got the photo-etched sheets. So as you can see, we've got 8 photo-etched sheets of various different thicknesses and materials. So we've got brass, we've got stainless steel, we've got thick brass, thin brass, and then this one here is absolutely amazing. This is tiny, it's got lots of screw heads and bolts heads and stuff on it. I'll show you all that in a minute, but you can see it's all beautifully laid out. There are a couple of small errors, but I'll show you those in a minute. And then here we're on to the build. So we've got the prop shaft tunnel. So you can see here we're assembling that framework that replaces that plastic lump that goes in the middle of the tunnel. And we've got the boost there, and we're fitting a union to the back ready for a pipe to come out to go to the turbo. And then we've got this this box here, and this is going to be part of the support. Hang on a minute. Yes, that's part of the support for the rear anti-roll bar adjustment. Okay, and on here you've got the accumulator. I haven't quite managed to work out when they've got M58, M59. I don't know what they mean, if this and or both of them or what, but I'll work that out when I get to see the parts. We've got 2 different options for our seats here. So we're getting rid of the plastic parts and we're adding all this. We're using the frames, which are plastic, but we're getting rid of all the chunky plastic parts of the frame and adding all this lovely photo etch. So when you open the door and look inside, you'll have all this lovely sliding mechanism, all in photo etch, all folded up, which is very, very nice indeed. And then here we've got front suspension. So as you can see here, we're replacing all of the front parts. All we're using is the actual screw. Okay, so that's absolutely amazing. Disc brakes, as you can see, we're building these up. We've got an aluminium turn bell, just like the real thing, and then we've got the vanes going in, and then we're going to add the front of the disc with the drilled holes. Then we're going to add the rear of the disc, and we're going to add a spacer ring on the back, and then we're going to build up this hub with 5 little nuts on the front, and they are all machined with the flat on them so they can be screwed in, and they are what aligned because they're center lock wheels, so the wheels go onto those studs, they drive the wheel, and then the nut goes on to actually hold the wheel on, and you can see you've got your threaded center nut there going in, and the only part we're using from the kit is this part here, 28 and 29 and C4, the bit in behind. All the brakes of the kit are discarded and use all this metal parts. Moving over here to step 9, we've got this rear suspension arm. Now apparently this is a takeover from the 934, but when they did the 935 they changed the design. So what Matthew's done here is get rid of that plastic, replace it with metal. You can see here it says F9 and F10, it should be F6. And then we've got these photo etch parts to add. I think this is nickel steel. I need to look. I think nickel steel can be soldered. We'll have to have a look. But we'll have a look and see how we get on with that. But basically we've got these parts going on here, and then it shows you there the finished assembly, and that's going to fit in just as the original did, the original plastic part in between the sandwiching parts. Then we got 11, we got the rear disc, which is basically the same as the front. We've got this huge threaded the center spigot, and then we've got this ring going on with the studs. The bell's going to go on, and there it is all built up. Building up the rear dampers, so again we're replacing all the rear damper. We're using the Tamiya screw, and apparently you cut off the threaded end will need to be cut. So you're going to cut off that threaded end. I'm not sure how much you cut off, it doesn't say. And then you've got the leftover piece there, which is going to go into this end and screw in for actually mounting this one on the bottom end, I think it is. I don't think they used upside down dampers these days. Something which is very prominent on the finished car, they have the spark plug caps go on. You have spark plugs and caps that it all comes from a distributor. I know some of you youngsters won't believe me, but hey ho. But there's these clips that go on just to make sure the plug caps don't pop out. So you've got those as well. I think they were kind of dipped in a hot plastic, so you might want to just paint the ends of them red. And then going over the page here, we've got 18. So this is this cooling fan that blows down and pushes air over the engine. I think it pushes rather than pulls. Otherwise, it would pull heat from the exhaust up, wouldn't it? All these separate little rivets going on. Look, it's absolutely amazing. Separate rivets there. These bolts here, I was reading on the 917s, they used to come in the pits and they changed one bolt every time they came in. So every fourth pit stop, they had 4 new bolts, because these bolts used to shear off and then the fan would go around and just destroy everything. So yeah, you can see you've got a plate going in the bottom as well, so even that area is super detailed, and you've got all this going together. It's a shame that they haven't given us replacement parts for this, because we're still going to have a seam down there. I may see if I can cast one in resin. If I don't shake the resin, I won't get the yellow pigment going in, so the resin should come out this sort of yellowy colour. We shall see. I might give it a go. So here we've got this very prominent on this engine. I'll show you in the kit instructions. In fact, I'll show you in these instructions, because in the old Tamiya instructions they used to give you actual pictures of the actual real thing. Having said that, is there a picture of the engine taken from the back? No, there isn't. There might be. No, there isn't. I can't believe it. I thought there was. But basically, you've got this, here you can see it on the kit, you've got this very prominent assembly here with the alternator sat there, and then you've got this huge adjustment there for the to adjust that pulley, and then you've got the steady coming down there for the bottom of the alternator. Well, that is very prominent when you open the rear end, because it's right in your face, and basically you're going to remove the alternator, you're going to remove the support, and then you're going to add all this gubbins on here to make the blades for the alternator. You've got this band going around. You're going to replace a plastic part for that's the adjuster for the alternator tension, and then you're going to end up with it looking like that. And then here, you're not using any plastic pulleys or plastic belts. You've actually got rubber bands, and you've got turned aluminium pulleys for all your pulleys, just like the real thing. So that's that. And then moving on to the next page, I'm using these just because I don't want to break the spine of my nice instructions. We have wiring loom clips. If you go and look at pictures of the real engine, you'll see that all the HT leads and everything run in these clips that run down the back of the engine, and that's what the looms will run through. We've got a heat shield here for the turbo. Obviously the alternator and distributor needs a heat shield from the turbo. Got a water reservoir tank. Again, I'd like to see that moulded in solid resin rather than have that seam around the middle. But you've got to you're going to remove that bracket and straps and everything and replace it with that one. Now the instrument panel is going to be a work of art, because you're replacing all these plastic parts with rings, and then you've got photo-etched dials that go in, and then you can put the Tamiya supplied decals over the top of the dials. So that'll look absolutely amazing. There's a footrest here. I don't know what's happened. There's been a bit of a spelling issue going on here. It says wire looms. This is actually a footrest going in the footwell there at the front. And then here, if you remember back in step 2, it talked about not using these pedal parts. Here they are here. So that sort of should be in there really. But again, you can see you're replacing all the pedals. You've got the clevis pins and everything in there. You've got everything you could ever want in there. They're not showing you clevis pins. I guess you could make your own or use some rod or whatever. But I think the thing is, if you've gone to the expense of buying this set and you feel you're experienced enough to use it, then you're going to know you have to supply metal parts and stuff. We've got a water tank in the engine, so this is for the windscreen washers. So that's your kit parts, and then you're replacing the cap on the top. We've got a rubber band here for the oil catch tank, and then we've got the oil tank here going in the front center of the or the front to the right on the in the front area. We've got fire extinguishers here. You've got a load of molded on straps. You're going to remove all of those and replace it all with photo-etched straps. And then here we've got have this thing called sub. So sub 1 is a sub assembly you make up and then fit later. So you can see here we've got a banjo with the M3 banjo and the M1 shaft. Here we've got a banjo with the M2 banjo, the M4 banjo and the M2 shaft. And here we've got just the M2 shaft. And you can see here 1A, 1B, 1C, 1A, 1B. And that's where it's telling you to use them. It doesn't say how many of these to make, but you can see here you're going to need 2 A's, 2 B's and 1 C. And these little photo etch rings here, they are actual welds. So when you put these down in, it looks like they're welded in. So yeah, brilliant. So that's all the replacement for the top of your fuel tank there. X-brace going in the front. You cut the ends off and then you fit all this bracketry to make it just like it's shown on the box. And then you've got all the end supports and everything. You're going to cut all that raised detail off the kit parts and replace it all with this. So it's going to look absolutely stunning. And yeah, they're all machined. Really, really nice. And then here we're going to 27. We've got the master cylinder, so we're going to replace the caps with machined aluminium parts. And then we've got the straps going around there. It says in here B6. That part is actually D33. And then here we've got the grills going in the side, got the towing eye going in the front, and then this is all the oil cooler at the front end, and you've got this this plenum chamber, whatever it is, at the back of the engine bay underneath the so that's where the heater vents go, I think. And then you've got the oil cooler there with all the mesh grills and supports and everything going in the front end there. Miscellaneous, so we've got brake line brackets. Yes, again, you're going to have to do your research. It doesn't tell you where to put them, it just shows you how to make them up. And then we've got a fuel door, so you can actually make the fuel door work with a piano hinge. So you've got photo etch parts there, piece of wire, and then just sort of roll them around so that you make a hinge with a piece of wire, which is beautiful. We've got, and that, I think the A fret is brass. Yes, I'm sure it is. I'm sure the A fret is brass, so all that can easily be soldered. Yes, it is. So that's really cool. And then here we've got a seatbelt buckle. This is the only mention of the seatbelts in the whole instructions, is that seatbelt buckle. Nothing else is mentioned. And then here we've got Tamiya parts not used, there's wire mesh. So here we've got photo etched grills to go over them. If you've got the later Tamiya kit, this one, I think you get, they don't show the photo etched sheet on here, do they? They just show the plastic parts, I believe. But I think you're, what's that on there? Step 28. So if we go to step 29, you can see we're up to step 31 now. So yeah, we've got photo etched sheets in this set already, so we'll have spares for another kit should you want to use them. So remember, in the old kit you had the mesh as like a basket material, but in the newer kit you actually get the photo etched panel, so you may not need it. This is really nice. There's a piece that goes up in the rear of the bodywork. You can see it here. You can see it here. This part here, A14. Okay. We've now seems to have lost the space because this is saying 20. This is saying 32, and that's 31. And then here we've got 33. Well, now this is 32. So it's all over the place as far as the new instructions go. You can see here this piece A14, something that the anybody who knows the 911 will know very well, across the back of the window here, there is a panel which has got slots in it to allow air to escape. And they give you that here with a thick photo etch and a thin photo etch panel. So that's really nice. So that'll look really good because it's going to be all sharp and everything. I've seen people drill out the plastic panel and sometimes it doesn't look so good. Here we are rebuilding the rear wing. So we're going to remove the lip from the, they call it a wicker bill, like a gurney flap, whatever. But we're going to remove that lip from the back of the wing and replace it with a piece of photo etch. And then here, all this is just standard plastic parts going together. And then here we've got a little hinge there, or a mounting for the wing. And that is like the little aluminium part, so they can adjust the angle of the wing should they want to. We've got a photo etch part here, C28. I think you get that in the newer kit anyway. And then we've got these straps here that are going to go in and hold the rear window in. You don't get them in the newer kit. And then here we've got these little additions to the front scuttle area with the bonnet pins on. So that's really nice. So when you open the bonnet, or when you remove the front end, you won't just see the... or remove the bonnet, should I say, you won't just see nothing, you'll have that actual lip there, which is correct to the real car. And then here we've got step 37, we've got the rear end going together. So this is a template for you to drill your holes for the rear pins. Okay, check your references. I think there's more than just the 2 pins. And then you've got the M26 going through for the pins. And then here we've got the rear towing eye. And then here we've got our doors being built up. Now on the kit you've got sliding windows, but there's no latch mechanism. So here you go, you've got this sandwich of parts to make up a latch mechanism, which is stunning, isn't it? And there's the little lever that they reach in to open the door with. So I'm guessing that should be in the driver's door, not the passenger door. But it says make 2 sets of each. Okay, so they have it in both doors. Windshield wiper. Totally replacing the plastic part using all photo etch and turned parts. And then here finally building up the rear rims. This here is wrong, that should be M10 and M11, I think it was M10 and 12. But you can see there the whole wheel is built up with photo etch parts and a ring of rivets. And you've also got to drill the rim to replace to put a valve in there. How nice is that? So if you've got the older kit, you've got chrome rims in the kit which are a bit too bright, they're very garish. If you've got the newer kit, they're like that silver paint, which is probably not bright enough. So having these turned aluminium rims is nice. And there you go, build something. Now, I just want to cover something. This is in no way degrading the kit in whatsoever. So if Matthew's watching this, I'm not trying to say anything bad. What I'm trying to do is just explain to you that you look at the instructions and you think, that's what you got. It's more than that. You've got a lot more than that. For example, you can see in this is the wrong way around actually, this is A over here. So that's A, B, C, D, E, F, G and R. You've got window frames. They're not even mentioned in the instructions. We've got some other bits and pieces. We've got window clips, so clips that go on and hold the window in. We've got them. They're not mentioned in the instructions. We've got window frames, and then over here we've got the hood badge. We've got photo etch hood badges, and we've also got here a drill template which isn't mentioned in the instructions. I couldn't see anyway, so that's interesting. And then we've got the side view mirror, so that you could polish that up in the stainless steel, polish that up to replace the mirror. And then here number 27, which is here, that's not actually in the list, but that's your plates. So you can sand off the molded on plastic and replace it with the photo etch, which you also get in the newer Tamiya kit anyway. Over here you've got that piece of mesh which you also get in the Tamiya kit, I believe. And then here we've got seat belts. Okay, so we've got seat belt brackets. You'll know how to put all them together. And then as you can see here, we've got where I've put a line in front of and behind. That means it's not listed on, it's here, but it's not in the instructions. So we've got parts for the throttle linkage there, so you can see there's part of the throttle linkage. And then coming down here, we've got the rear deck pin plates. Okay, so they're going to go on the actual rear deck. They're not mentioned in the instructions, I don't think. And then we've got parts of the throttle linkage. More throttle linkage there. We've got 2 more throttle linkage parts there, and then we've got hose clamps. Yes, we've got hose clamps, Jubilee clips, whatever you want to call them. More throttle linkage. And then coming over here, more throttle linkage parts, not listed. Front hub detail. It is listed in the instructions, but I don't think you use it. And then here we've got buck. Now, whether that's American for scrap, spare, whatever, I don't know what buck means, because we've got these two here, and they're also called buck. I don't know why they would bother cutting them out. If anybody knows, please tell me if you're familiar with scale motorsport terminology. And then here we have the wheels and everything going together, and then here we have the this is our, you can see we've got rim rivets, fan strap bolt heads. We've got bolt heads for window clips, fuel filler collar bolt heads, mount for happy knob, that's the boost controller. We've got 1/4 inch bolt heads, we've got 1/2 inch bolt heads, window locks, fuel filler plate bolt heads, fan collar bolt heads. It's absolutely amazing. So yeah, you need to look through here. Some of the stuff isn't in the instructions, but it's all listed here as to what it is. So that is quite amazing. And I'll just quickly show you something else I did here. This is the pictorial of all the knobs and everything. You get the turn aluminium parts, and I haven't crossed a couple of them out, and I don't think they feature in the instructions either. But I haven't checked my set yet. I just hope it's all there. So anyway, enough waffling. Let's have a look at this set. So for those of you that have fast forwarded through the instructions, here you are. We're back with this lot of parts. Okay, so here we go. We've got some braided line and everything there. We'll have a look at that in a minute. But we'll start off, have a look at this. This is our photo etch, and as you can see, we've got one piece there which has come away, so you can see how fine it all is, and the connection points are very, very fine indeed, which is really nice. So that's our heat shield, I think, there. But we can see here, this is the brass fret. We've got those window frames that I mentioned that aren't included. This is, I emailed Matthew and asked, you know, what they're intended for, and got no reply. But I did see, and someone else had said they're for use on the inside, because obviously the kit has got this rubber beading around the window, which I don't think is correct. I think on race cars the windows were either bonded or just or riveted in to the original recess. They didn't bother putting them in the rubber surrounds or anything for the weight. But that's something we can look at. And there you can see there's those little pieces which are going to go underneath the rear wing, and then there we've got some bits for the wheels. We've got some mesh here for our oil cooler at the front, and there's the mesh there for the intercoolers at the side, with the radiators, the water coolers for the charge coolers. There's those plates for the bonnet there. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And then going on here, you can see down here we've got this frame here for the knacker duct on the rear wing, and then these are all seat mountings. We've got part of our throttle linkage there, and we've got all of the bits and pieces here for the alternator. I just move that piece out of the way. We've got all the bits here for the alternator, for the fan and everything, and then these bits here, I believe they're all for the boost adjustment. We've got some seatbelt buckles there. There's that template for the rear hood pins, and then we've got our bits and pieces here. More, I think this is more seat nut stuff there. And then here's the grills that go behind the in the back of the front wheel arches, which are completely missing from the kit. More throttle linkage parts there. And then here I think we've got some tie downs or whatever. We've got our gauges here. You can see those gauges. They have a raised needle on them, so when you put your decal on there from the kit, you get a more three-dimensional look. Very, very nice indeed. There's parts of the straps for the seats there. We've got here, these are hose clips. There's the strap for the water tank at the front. And then coming over here, we've got the disc brakes. We've got the fins in between the disc brakes. You can see that's quite a thick stainless steel sheet there. We've got our pedals, and then here again we've got parts that aren't called in the instructions. These are our throttle linkage parts, and they actually replace on the engine, on the back of the engine. There is a couple of big lumps. Where are we? Doopy-doopy-doo. On here, you can see them there. There's a couple of big lumps there. Okay, and then we've got a great big plastic shaft going through, and that's supposed to be a throttle linkage, but obviously in real life it's a lot finer than that. Don't be fooled, on some of the 935s the throttle linkage has been moved back because they've got all pipes and intercoolers and stuff down there. But here you can see the beautiful BBS wheels. So you've got your mesh you're going to build up there, and that's very thick photo etch there. And then we've got a couple of shields here. We've got a photo windscreen wiper there. We've got a windscreen wiper arm there. Some other greeblies and bits and pieces, wherever they are. I think they were put down as buck, weren't they? I'm not sure. And this one here is also put down as buck. I don't know. I'd love to know what they mean. But if you know, please tell me in the comments. And then we've got straps here for bits and pieces. And there's that piece that's going to go in over the top of the rear screen. And then here you can see there's that tiny photo etch bits and pieces there. You can see nuts and bolts and screw heads and all sorts there. Really amazing. There's those hinges there for the door. So yeah, absolutely lovely. But I'd love to know, that is called a buck, and those bits there are called bucks. So really don't know what they're for. Maybe I'll work it out. And then here we have our box in the middle, which has it's kind of stuck in, so you've got to be very careful taking it out. I don't think any of this has been out there before. It's kind of stuck in with two dabs of very, very sticky stuff. You can see the seal is still there, but I realised when I first went to take it out, these hinges pop apart quite easily. So we'll have a look in there. And then here we've got our wheel rims. So you can see these are beautifully turned, quite weighty as well, and they're ready for your tyres to go on. I was just wondering if they're pop mark. No, they're not. I was wondering if there was a mark on there where the tyre valve goes, but there isn't. So I'm assuming that's the outer and that's the inner. Yeah, there you go. There's your rear wheels there. Or is that the outer? You can see, you know, if you want a turned aluminium rim, something that looks like a turned aluminium rim, use a turned aluminium rim. Absolutely gorgeous, aren't they? So yeah, that one's going in there and that one's going in there. And then here's our fronts. And we've got rubber bands on these. That's interesting. I thought we had rubber bands. Maybe those rubber bands are just there to hold them in. Make them stay in there better. But there's our front wheels there. They don't seem to want to go together so easily, but just give one of them a rub a couple of times, get it warmed up slightly. There's our front wheels. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely stunning. I should imagine those rubber bands are there to, yeah, they're there to help keep them in, because they probably have them coming out in transit and getting damaged. So there you are, there's that all beautifully done. So we'll move that box out of the way. We've got this box here. What I'll try and do is bit by bit get some parts out. Yeah, those hinges aren't going to pop. So what I'm going to try and do is get under this so I can reseal it. Okay, so we've got the box open, and as you can see, as I mentioned earlier, we have this, where's it gone? There's an instruction sheet over here. We have this sheet that shows us the locations of everything. Okay, so you can see all the little bits and pieces. So here we have these beautiful threaded parts. This is the first time I've looked at these. You can see we've got these beautiful threaded parts, and this is our this is from C3, so it's M12. I don't think it's a front shock. M43, shock tower top, nope. Or M53. There's four of those, so it's not that. So it must be the shock tower. That must be the part of the shock absorber. I thought that was part of the shock absorber. This must be the rear and this must be the front. You can see there it's got a thread on. So this ring in here will also have a thread. So I would imagine, just like the real car, look at that. You'll be able to adjust the spring height, because that is a threaded ring, and you'll put a locking ring on there, and that's your spring seat, and that sets the ride height. And then we've got the springs in here. Springs are always a nightmare to get apart, aren't they? Especially when they're tapered like this. Come on, there we go. So that's going to sit on there like that. So you can see just how real this is all looking now. Unbelievable. Absolutely gorgeous. So there we go. And then the other thing I want to see is here we have these rear, here's a rear one, and then we have a nut. So this is going to come through the center of the wheel, and then our center lock nut is going to go on. I was wondering if we had those holes, and we do. Look, we have the hole for the clip to go in. I wonder if we have the clips in the set. We should have. Let's try it the other way around. Oh, I know what this is. They've probably got actual left and right hand threads, just like the real car. There we go. So that's right with right. Okay, and this one here will be left hand, I'll bet you. Oh my, oh my. How far have they taken this? I'm confused now. I'm just wondering. I can't actually. I'm thinking about it. They're in there as twos, so I can't. They probably aren't left and right hand thread. I just probably got to just clean up a burr on the end or something just to help it go together. Yeah, it's gone together there. What it's probably got is a burr on the front edge, so it doesn't want to break. So it doesn't want to break in. But oops, there we go. So that's that. How stunning is that? So they don't have left and right hand threads. We have here the these are our hubs. So they're going to go on the hubs. And then here we've got our bells for our brakes. Again, turned aluminium, just like the real things. And you can see that it's going to go over the top. Your pins are going to come through. And we have the pins here. And as you can possibly make out, the end of the pin, got Dottie trying to eat my leg. The end of the pin has a slot in it. Get the light on, might help you see it a bit better. But the end of the pin has a slot in it, just like the real things, so they put them in and lock them in with a flat screwdriver. You can see there's your bell there. Absolutely stunning, isn't it? That came out of there. We've got all sorts of little bits of pins and things like that. So here's our, we can see here's a pin that's going to go through for our hood pins, and then a split pin is going to go through that hole. We've got caps for the, look at these, absolutely stunning aluminium caps for our reservoirs. Here we've got the tops. That's the tops of the rear shock mounts. Beautiful. I think you use the kit springs. And then there's the fuel filler and the fuel vent. So they're going to be, the bonnet will open, you open the flap and you'll see those underneath. So they're quite stunning. We've got some belts in here. These are belts for our fan belts and stuff. And we've got some pulleys in here. There's another belt. I need to go through all this and just check I've got it all. But you can see there's the there's one of your pulleys. And you've got the belts going to go in there. So if we put that belt around there and put it in the slot without twisting it, you can see just how good that's going to look. So we've got a very, very thin turned edge on there, so we need to be really careful with that, not to damage it. I'm surprised they've got all those bits in there rattling around together. In fact, I'm tempted to put this one face down in there. Go face down, you swine. Or at least put it that way around so that edge doesn't get knocked up against all that in there. And we've got the same on here. Lovely little fine turned edge. Another little pulley. There's our front centre locks for the wheels. But it's just stunning, isn't it? There's the gear lever. There's our gear knob, turned aluminium, beautiful. And then up in here we've got lots of unions and things for our hoses. So we've got that beautiful diagram, this one I showed you here. Got this lovely diagram that gives you a very large view of everything, so you can look at it through a magnifier in my case and see which is which. But, absolutely stunning. What an amazing set this is. Now there is one big downside to this set, and that's the price. Those of you that will know this set what it is, you know how much it is. If you look on eBay at the moment, there are a couple on there for £750. That's a shock. That's a shock absorber part there. And if you actually go and look at them, the owner, I got an email offering it for £650. So there you go. It's about $800, which is, yes, it's a lot of money, but you can see how many parts there are, and you can see how beautiful this is. This is the end for the cross brace underneath the hood. So yeah, that's the downside, is the price. $800, which a lot of people think is extortionate, but then there are people out there that will just pay it. Is it worth it? I've not fantasized, but I've wanted it since I first ever saw it when it first came out. And then when I'm so glad I looked for those decals. I went onto eBay looking for decals, and I put in 1/12 Porsche 935, and this came up, and I paid less than half price for it. So absolutely chuffed, and massive thank you to Keith. So here we've got a bag of bits, a bag of cables and braided hose and stuff. Hope there's enough in here for it. You can see here we've got -6. Now this dash number, in case you don't know, yeah, the harness set is in the back. Probably use other aftermarket harnesses. I don't like these cut-out ones. Yeah, the -6, if you don't know what it means, think of it as 16ths. So -16 is 1 inch. -4 is 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so 4/16 is 1/4. 2/16 is 1/8. Yeah, 6/16 is 3/8, isn't it? All right, so that's basically what it is. That's what it means. So you've got this tiny braided hose here. So this is going to be your -2. And then you've got You've got dash 6 and dash 4 fitting line. So that's going to be like your, you know, your solid lines. Okay, so this is, I think this is just aluminium wire. It's very nice. And then here we have our dash 4 and dash 6. So you can see a nice old size on there. And it's very nice braided hose as well. Now I don't know if this is like the Tamiya stuff. So it's a braided hose and it's got a pipe inside it. Yes, I think it has. I think it's braided hose. Yes, it is. You can see. It's braided. Oh, it's wire by the look of it. It's braided hose over a wire insert. Alright, so there you go. You could replace that with vinyl, I guess, if you wanted to. The beauty of this is when you go tight, it won't kink. But I've got some actually aftermarket braided sleeve to go on hose. It's not very nice at all. So there we go. So there's all our braided hosing. So yeah, if you're interested in one of these, I know for a fact if you're in the UK, there's two. Well, you don't need to be in the UK. There's two available on eBay at the moment, and they're £750 each. So if you want to build the Ultimate 935 76, then, you know, I guess this is one of your options. The other option is Model Factory Hero, and the trouble is, it would appear from the Model Factory Hero website that pretty much everything is sold out. So hence, when you look on eBay and you look online, the prices have gone silly. So now you can pay £1,000 for a Model Factory Hero. There are Porsche 917s on Model Factory Hero ones on eBay for over £1,000. So it depends how much you want to spend. But they're generally sort of, with the way everything's going, they're probably about £700 now anyway, because the pound is quite weak against everything, I think. So there we go. That is the Scale Motorsport 935 Super Detail Kit. I never ever thought I would have one of these, and I'm absolutely over the moon that I have, and I'm even more over the moon at the price I paid for it. Would I have paid £750 for it? Probably not, unless I came into a massive windfall or something. But would I pay it? Probably not, no. But I certainly think it's worth £350. A lot of you will think it's not. A lot of you will be probably commenting, saying that there's no way you should pay that for it, you're an idiot, whatever. But when you consider, like I say, a Model Factory Hero kit, I mean, I've paid for this, with the actual kit itself, I've paid £500. So when you compare that to a Model Factory Hero kit for £700, it's not so bad. Although I think the Model Factory Hero kit would probably be nicer overall. I don't know. But anyway, there we go. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed that. Any questions, anything else you want to see, pop the questions down below and I'll try and help you out. And as I say, if you know Matthew at Scale Motorsport, could you please ask him why he's not replying to my emails? Because I'm not asking for anything, I'm just asking for some advice. So anyway, thank you for watching. There it is. It's a beauty. Bye for now.